University of Miami has made a decision and fired the defensive coordinator, and this man literally has it on his Twitter. What? And been advocating it for 2 days since they lost their bowl game and where Cam Ward took himself out of the second half. So let's bring our main man in, the Korean co-cell himself, Steve Kim joins us real quick on a special Tuesday. Steve!
What's going on, Steve?
Good morning. I got the news while I'm working out. And by the way, my Twitter handle, I don't think really had any influence on the decision.
I think it's the main reason why.
I will say this. There's an old phrase. What needs to be done eventually should be done immediately. And look, I know this is now Mario Cristobal's. It's going to be his third coordinator in 4 years. I applaud him for understanding what was lost, what had happened. And look, I wish Lance Guidry well. He did a pretty good job in year one. But the drop-off in play, I was not asking for the 85 Bears or the 2000 Ravens, but I have never seen a more uncoordinated unit in my life. They did not understand alignment. They were discombobulated by motion. They didn't understand setting the edge and the run game. They let too many plays bounce. They never covered the flat consistently. This is football 101, and as I want to repeat this, guys that understood football within our fan base, Hurricane J, Roman from Orange Bowl Boys, my guy Roe, Lance Roffers, Steve-O, they pointed this out with the all-22. It's just not a jabroni like me being angry that we're getting gashed all over the place. So all we needed at Miami was a slightly below average defense. We're in the playoffs. And what I saw was coaching malpractice this season.
We just had this discussion, Steve, and it's a great segue. And I know you're just going to come out here to talk about this and get out of here. I appreciate you coming on. New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's to everybody. Here's the thing, Steve. Shane Steichen should never have been a head coach. He shouldn't be. Mike McDaniel shouldn't be a head coach. We're so stuck on social media and offenses that are real good in 1 year for a team, but they forget the structure. There's a Bill Belichick, there's a Charlie Weiss, or a Josh McDaniels, and there's a Tom Brady. Right now, Cliff Kingsbury looks like a great play caller because he's not the head coach, which he never should have been. It's a pecking order. You have a leader of men, you got an OC, and a good quarterback in Jaden Daniels. We throw these guys in these jobs that aren't ready for it, and they're just not leader of men first or culture creators. I would take Pete Carroll in a heartbeat over Ben Johnson in Chicago. I need a culture first. I don't need a play caller to go with my nail painting quarterback. The same thing goes for the DCs. And I'm seeing the chat, and that's why it brought me up. This is what brought this topic up. I see the chat saying, hire an NFL DC, Steve. No. They're the worst. Do not. You don't know what you're talking about, chat. Stop hiring NFL DCs.
Lane Kiffin tried that with Monty, and when he went to USC, and he couldn't handle these college offenses. They got ripped up that year. Look
at Michigan returned 20 defensive players from a national championship team, and Wink Martindale still struggled to defend triple option, RPO, and other things in Michigan. You don't become a DC in college from the NFL, and everyone thinks you're supposed to, just hire a DC from the NFL. NFL does not run. They're running more of it now, and DCs are getting their feet wet in the college game, but they're not ready to go in there and face the tempo, this running QB. They're not ready to do all that shit. I'm just telling you. I would not hire an NFL DC, Steve, if I were Miami.
Coach, the bottom line is very simple. Mario, I believe, has to have the ability and willingness to tell this coordinator, you have autonomy. You bring in your assistants. I was told there was a bit of a disconnect on that side of the ball in terms of the staff, that they weren't all in alignment. They were, and I thought it showed on the field. Whoever is going to be brought in, and let's say it's a blue chip name that everybody knows, he has to be willing and able to say, all right, these three guys have got to come with me. They know my system. They know what it's like to be taught. They know what I like to do and how I like it done. Coach, in terms of hiring coaches in NFL, I think the biggest mirage is when you hire a hotshot offensive coordinator and they have a great quarterback. Here's the problem. They can't bring them along with the new job. I like what Ben Johnson is doing, like you were saying. I like the fact Ben's saying, you know what, there's no rush. I'm in the very early stages of my career. Let me finish out my destiny in Detroit. I'm going to take a job where I know I'm comfortable and I know I'm ready to lead men. And if that new team has the number 1 pick or a quarterback that I like, that's the job you take. I remember when the Lakers, a different sport, when they brought Luke Walton, everyone was excited among all my Laker fans. And I said, great, are we bringing Steph and Thompson? If not, we're just still a bad team. Bad team. And so the other thing is,
Rambus,
here's the issue with Miami. And look, I give Cristobal credit for not just waiting and being methodical. When I look at Miami's history, when they have been good, it's not just the players that are talented. When Miami has been really elite, we've had unbelievable coaching staffs. If you look at Jimmy Johnson's last staff in '88, where his last 2 graduate assistant hires ever were Ed Orgeron and Tommy Tuberville.
Yeah, Keto too.
Well, Keto was already on there. We had Tony Wise, Gary Stevens, Dave Wanstead, Butch Davis, Dave Campo. That's real coaching talent. When Butch Davis, his last years, we had guys like Chuck Pagano. We had future NFL head coaches. So right now, I'm looking at this Miami staff. We have to be honest. Who is a future head coach? Because if you look at Nick Saban's 2014 or 15 staff, there's like 9 future college head coaches, like good ones too.
Look at Pete Carroll. Look at Pete Carroll's SC. I mean, here's the thing that I don't know if you could do anymore though. The money is so the bags of money are so large that back in the day, Noel Mazzoni will be on tomorrow to talk about. He talks about this all the time. When he was at Ole Miss, he made $55,000 as the OC in the SEC, and you would weigh that out. Do I leave for the Miami job to make $100,000 more, or do I stay here for another couple years? Now it's I have to leave because they're throwing $30 million at me. So like the development has been lost in developing coaches and assistant coaches. See, I think that Lincoln Riley should have coached for Nick Saban for 2 years like Sark did and learned and become a head coach. And I think he'd be much better off.
Well, the problem is with Lincoln, he was born on third base, but he didn't hit a triple. I mean, Bob Stoops left in elite. So, I mean, he's not going to go backwards. But, you know, I've heard several names that Miami might be considering. I'm not really sure exactly how much smoke or heat is on every one of them. There's some interesting names, but Miami has to get back to playing at least fundamentally sound football. And this reminds me a lot. In 1998, Miami had a really good bounce-back year. They ended it by beating UCLA, knocking them out of the national title race. But in the last 3 games of the year, they gave up 66 to Syracuse. They gave up 45 to UCLA and gave up a bunch of yards to NC State with Torrey Holt on it. And even at 9-3, Butch Davis understood, I got to make a change. And he let go of a guy that was very close to him, Bill Miller, who ended up going, I think, to Michigan State. And he plucked out a guy that nobody knew, but he was this bright young assistant. His name was Greg Schiano. And he updated the whole – he ran more bear fronts, more zone fire blitzes, more man-to-man coverage. He was ultra aggressive. And I thought he elevated our program. So the question is, can Mario Cristobal find his Greg Schiano?
Yeah, I would lean on it. If you're a serious place, and I'll let you leave, Steve. If you're a serious organization and you want to make an impact, there'd be one guy on my list. I know him personally, obviously, and obviously I know what he's about. But Taj Lupoy at Oregon right now would be my number one guy.
Yeah, but here's the issue.
Right now. Just telling
Isn't that a backward step? Oregon's an elite program. Miami is just mid. We have to be honest about it. That is not
Miami. You're Miami.
Yeah,
see, that's the thing.
In today's world, Oregon is popping, bro.
Right now, we are a logo.
I'm still in Taj Lupoy if I'm Mario Cristobal from Oregon.
But here's the issue. I'm not. My sense is Lanning, along with everyone else, is very well paid there at Phil Knight U. The other thing is, Oregon, legitimately, the past 15 years is a top 10 program.
That's what I'm saying.
Miami is a program that has a great past. That's what it is. I don't know if that's elevating if you're Tosh Lupoy. I really don't.
Look, Todd's a good friend. He got blackballed. He got put out of NCAA for a few years. He goes to Alabama. He gets coached up by Saban. He goes to the Cleveland Browns and in the NFL for a few, and then comes back. Actually, when Cleveland comes back to the Alabama, goes, and then now he's at Oregon. He's been at Washington. He's been at all these places. Miami's the time to go be the next guy, and then he'll get a head job. See that right now? Well, I just think that's the stepping order.
Whoever comes in, and this is going to be part of the player's job. You better be better students of the game. I'm just telling you, we didn't even have the ability to play proper, fundamentally sound cover 2, cover 3. I just look at some of the games, and I look at some of the breakdowns, and I talk to people that know more football than me. We have a low football IQ. And my view is we better get smarter players that actually care about their craft. I think we have some guys who are just there to be there because it shows. Yeah. But whoever is the coach had better focus on fundamentals, understanding alignment. I'm just telling you, guys, there's video after video that jet sweep motion 4 weeks into seeing it, because from Virginia Tech on, I was at that game. They riddled us. Cal game, they riddled us. The defense never got better, and that's eventually what cost Lance Guidry his job. So we'll see what happens, but my understanding is that there's going to be more changes on that side of the ball in terms of the coaching staff. So it is what it is, and I got my late Christmas gift.
Hey, usually when you get rid of the DC, you get rid of the D-line coach and the linebacker coach as well, especially the back row guys, because your DC usually controls one of those. I don't know if Guidry's a DB guy or a backer guy, but I know.
Coach, about that, Lance Guidry was the coach of our safeties. Now, again, this is not a personal indictment. This is my observation. Last year, we had 2 NFL guys back there, James Williams and Cam Kitchens, who's having a really good year for the Rams. They actually had their struggles last year. Okay, but those guys were NFL guys, so they were okay. This year's safety play, I can honestly tell you without reservation or hesitation, was the worst safety play I've ever seen at Miami. In fact, there was no safety in our defensive back room at all. Who was the coach? It was Lance Guidry. Is it a causation or is it a correlation?
You spinning right now. We're going to find out, man. Well, appreciate you, Steve, for hopping in there. I know last minute. I know you stopped your workout. Like you said,
I'm done with my workout. I'm good.
And a New Year's gift, man. Any before you leave, any word for 2025 as you answer? Any resolution for Steve or anything you want to share with the people?
Yeah. The resolution for everybody in the upcoming year, Kim Fuchsia say, don't be a dickhead. That's it.
Come on now. Simple. Well, appreciate you, Steve.